Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared, and we got BGM knives regrind and fixed blades. We're going to talk about them in just a second. First, let's get to his regrinds. So this is the Ferrum Forge Master Blaster with one of his hollow ground regrinds. I'm going to try to get through this stuff really quick because I know you guys don't like long videos and we have 3 knives to go through. So his regrinds are done very well. Now he does flat grinds and hollow grinds. It just kind of depends on the knife you have of whether or not he's going to be able to do a hollow grind or a regrind. He does amazing sharpening choils. I always say he does some of the best sharpening choils around. Now, we're going to talk about the benefits and the negatives of getting a regrind here in a second, but his hollow grinds are done very, very well. This one does have a little bit of a tapering thinness behind the edge. It gets extremely thin right here in the middle, a little thicker back here, and then thickest point up at the tip, which the tip you kind of want to be the thickest point, especially when you get down this thin. So right around 10 thousandths behind the edge right here, a little under 15 back here, and then right around, I think it was 18, yeah, 18 right up at the tip. So that's going to give you a nice acute yet durable enough tip. So some of the benefits to having a regrind is your knife's going to cut better. It's thinner behind the edge, and it's for sure going to cut better. Now, this originally came with a flat grind, so it's going to dramatically cut better than it originally did, especially going this thin behind the edge. Now, another thing, you're going to get a lot more life out of it, meaning thinness behind the edge after sharpening. So you can continue to sharpen this for a long time, and it'll stay the same thinness behind the edge. Unlike before, 10 sharpenings in, it's going to be dramatically thicker behind the edge. So the life of the knife and how it performs is going to last a lot longer with a regrind like this. It's also it originally came with a finger choil, by the way, so the Master Blaster already had a finger choil, but having this beautiful plunge grind as he does makes it where you're not going to have to worry about hitting a plunge grind, which is amazing. The finish looks beautiful too. That's another thing. If you like a nice belt satin finish like this, especially with the two-tone, you have the stone wash on top. Yeah, looks beautiful. Some of the negatives, it's not going to be as tough. No, it's not going to be as tough. So that is one of the downfalls to getting a regrind. You're getting it thinner. It's losing materials. So it's not going to be as tough. It's not going to be as durable. It's not going to be as strong. So that's going to be something you're just going to have to weigh the options on when you get a regrind, of whether or not you are basically going for cutting performance and longevity of the thinness behind the edge, or toughness. Just depends on how tough you are on your knife. In my opinion, I think this heavily improved this knife. I think this is an amazing knife regardless. So putting this deep hollow grind on it only made it better, in my opinion. I love the Master Blaster. It's an amazing knife. I do really like this knife quite a bit. So this just brings it over to a next level, in my opinion. I did sharpen this, and it did get very, very sticky behind the edge. Oh, it's stupid sharp. But, the regrind, is slightly inconsistent. You would expect it to go from the thinnest point here up to the thickest point here, but instead we have a little bit thicker here. It gets a little thinner, or it gets a lot thinner here, and then thicker right here, and you can actually see the taper in the edge. But very easy to sharpen. So, all right, let's check out these fixed blades really quick. Here is BGM's information if you're looking to get a regrind or to get any of his custom fixed blades. Now, both of these are in crew wear. Now, let's start off with this one. Both of them came with factory edges, and we're going to talk a little bit about that here in a second. But this is crew wear. It has a nice, strong spine on it. Very thick spine, very thick swedge. Nice deep hollow ground blade. Goes from about 15 thousandths to 25 thousandths at the tip. So it's going to be nice and durable at the tip. We have micarta. It is a full tang, obviously. Now let's talk about this edge. So I'm going to show a little clip of the factory edge. It was basically, it reminded me of my Work Sharp Ken Onion belt sharpened edge. It's a convex edge, and it's very sharp, but it seemed like it was a little bit over stropped because it didn't have a lot of bite. So even though the edge was fine, there was no real issues with it or anything. And I do the same edges with my, like I said, my Ken Onion belt sharpener on kitchen knives, fixed blades for people that that want that type of edge. It's a nice, durable, strong edge, but this seemed like it was a little stropped, just a little bit too much. So when I was cutting with it, I did get quite a bit of resistance and tearing of cardboard trying to pass through it. And I figured it was the edge because using the other one after sharpening it, it was super clean cutting with it. And we'll talk about that one here in a second. But this one, I put it on the stone and I did put a working finish on it. Now, I haven't finished the edge yet because I wanted to be able to test it and then send it back with a fresh edge. So I'm still going to finish the edge. You'll notice here at the heel, I didn't, quite 100% get it. And then if we follow up to the tip also needs a little bit more work. Not a big deal. I'm going to finish it, like I said, before I send it back. But incredibly sharp. I mean, this thing it's got a hell of a lot of bite to it. And then after putting the edge on it, it was blazing through the cardboard like nothing. I mean, like it was like going through hot butter, just melting it. And so I could tell, big difference. The edge, it just needed, a new edge on it. Not a big deal. And I'm not saying that the factory edge that's going to come on it isn't going to be useful and good and everything else. It's just, putting a different edge on there did change a lot for the cutting performance. And, I really like the sharpening choil that he does and the way he does his plunge grinds. You can see the thickest point from here, and then it just drops straight down to the, the same thickness that the edge is going to be, which is great. And, utility cuts with it. This one is a little thicker at the tip than the other one, but it still does utility cuts really good. Not quite as good as the other one, but it still does utility cuts pretty good. The ergos are really nice in the hand. I like this, how he does these handles, where right here you have this little dent. Because like right here in my palm kind of lays on there, and it's just super duper comfortable. Little choke spot right there. Now you will get a little bit of rotation through thicker stuff if you're in a hammer grip, but you can stop it just by putting your thumb on the spine. But since it is rounded and contoured and not that thick, you will get a little spin in your hand if you're in a hammer grip. The retention of the sheath is really nice. You do have a nice push-off spot, and it does come with a nice little belt clip. I'm sure you could put a tech lock on this. They don't have drain holes, but it'd be very easy to just drill just a little tiny little dot down there for a drain hole for moisture to get out if you really wanted to. Let's check this one out. Now this one, I put an edge on pretty much right away. I'm still going to put a polished finish on there, but I got a nice, very aggressive edge on there just for use, for me to test it. And it's incredibly sharp. You can hear it. And yeah, it's the geometry of it's really nice. It is a thicker spine, but it does have a thinner tip because it doesn't have the swedge like the other one. So this one is about 18 thousandths to 25 thousandths. So there's the same thickness behind the edge at the tip, but this one's a little thicker of the grind on the thinnest portion. But because it is a full flat, I mean a 100% full flat grind, it is a slicer, and it slices really good. A little thicker in the handle, so in my opinion this one's slightly more comfortable, but it still does have the same features as the other one, just not quite as thick. So this one winds up being just slightly more comfortable and being a full flat. You know, you got these nice little pinch grips for like chopping food and things like that. This one, yeah, slices through cardboard like a dream. It does have a nice landing zone right here for your thumb. Now for utility cuts, I mean, this thing is really good. It's, you know, slightly better than the other one because it is a little bit thinner at the spine of the tip. And you have a ton of leverage down into the cuts. It feels really good doing those type of cuts, or, you know, like say drilling holes or anything like that. This one's going to be slightly better at drilling holes. This one will be slightly better at utility cuts, but all the grips are really good. But you're still going to have the same issue with this one, that you will get some rotation and a hammer grip going through denser materials, but you can prevent it by, you know, this putting the thumb on the spine. G10 scales. And it has the same type of finish on the, meaning on the scale, or on the, yeah, on the handle. But really awesome, man. And the heat treat on these are, if you want to feel good quality heat treats, a custom heat treat is the way to go. It'll never be able to compare to a production heat treat, ever. So it's really nice when you're into steels and, you know, into stones and heat treats and things like that, to feel the level of quality these heat treats have. They feel phenomenal on the stone. The retention, same thing, really good. Hardly any play at all. Maybe just a tiny bit. And this one, same thing. I don't know if I showed that before. Just a little tiny bit of play, but they're both really good and has a nice little push-off spot for you to push off with. This one has a little ulti clip. These are usually used on firearms, but it can go from inside the belt to, you know, the outside of the belt. You just pop this tab and you can slip your belt inside there and hook it and then clamp it. But this one doesn't have a drain hole either, but like I said, you can easily just punch or drill one down there. Great Kydex sheaths. Both of these are great knives and very useful. I didn't use them outdoors or anything like that, but for basic EDC tasks, they're amazing. Like I said, the one problem I had was the turning inside the grip. And, you know, the factory edge wasn't the best. Not saying it was bad, but, you know, it was a lot better after hand sharpening. But that goes with any factory edge. Any factory edge. So I think that's kind of irrelevant. I do really like the plunge grind on this one. I like the plunge grind on both, but this is really nice how it goes from the fixed point right down to the edge. And then you have all this life to sharpen. So you're going to get a lot of great sharpenings out of this. And since this is a full flat, it does have a slow taper. The one benefit of the hollow grind is, though, it will stay the same thickness through the first handful of sharpenings, while this one will get slightly thicker. But since the geometry is so good on this one, it will, you know, it's not going to get that much thicker. But yeah, great knives. There you guys go. I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.